The President of the United States there taking some questions after delivering a series of remarks about the debt ceiling limit. President saying, likening it to playing Russian roulette. Let's bring back our Ed O'Keefe for some analysis of what the president just said. Is Ed ready to? Yeah, there he is. So Ed, I thought it was really an interesting, short but interesting series of observations that the president delivered. What was your biggest takeaway?
That he's trying to get Republicans to allow this debt limit vote to occur without the threat of a filibuster. That's, if you're cutting through the morass there, that's essentially what he's trying to say to the Republicans. Back off. Let us do this with a simple majority vote if you insist on not supporting our ability to do this with majority rule in the Senate. There was a letter transmitted to him today by the Senate minority leader essentially saying, look, your party has been being a little too cavalier with the economy right now and should be buckling down to try to get this done. So the president's turning around saying, look, I'll try to talk to them about this, but what I'd like them to do is just allow us to have a simple majority vote, up or down. Do we raise the debt limit? For how long and to how much? And that is essentially going to be issue number one this week here in Washington. It is such a technical thing. It is such a housekeeping thing that should be able to be done very easily. But for months, Republicans in the Senate have been saying, you can go ahead and do this, Democrats, but you're going to do it without our support, because we believe that if you're going to have one-party rule and try to ram through all the other things you're doing right now, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the partisan Build Back Better agenda, and you're going to have to raise the debt limit on your own. Democrats turn around, as the president, you heard him there say, this is to pay for things that have already been approved in the past. It's a credit card bill, in essence. And you need to work with us to do this or get out of our way and let Democrats do it on their own. That's the essential message he's trying to issue here. It's one of the first times he's spoken about raising the debt limit in recent weeks in a more formal presidential setting, which is to signal that the White House understands this needs to be done. And it comes as the majority leader, Chuck Schumer, this morning told his colleagues that they may have to stay through the weekend to get this done. He wants it done this week, not bleeding into October 18th next week and beyond, because then you could be disrupting the markets, and Democrats need that floor time in the House and the Senate to get those other things done that we've spent so much time talking about in recent days.
So why don't the Democrats just raise the debt ceiling on their own then?
They'd like to. They'd like to, but they keep getting blocked, and they have to throw up a cloture vote, and they have to hit that 60-vote threshold, filibuster. So that's what he's trying to say to them is, we can do this. If you insist on not helping us out, fine. But tell all your Republican members not to threaten us with a filibuster when we go to do it. Stand back and let us, as he said there, stand back and let us save the country, whatever. In essence, he's saying, if you don't want to play, fine. Let us do it with a simple up or down vote that puts you guys on the record as being against it and puts us on the record being for it. What McConnell is suggesting is that you can use that complicated reconciliation process that we've spent way too much time trying to explain to people, because even we don't entirely understand it, which would allow them to do it just with Democratic votes in a simple way, sort of with suspending the other rules. But as you heard the president say there, it's complicated, it could take a while, and the hodgepodging back and forth between the House and the Senate could really disrupt things even more. So we'll see. They got to work this out in the coming days. The president, the majority leader, signaling they'd like to get it done this week. And one way to do that is to put public pressure on Republicans to say, get out of our way, let us do it, and let's move on.
And finally, Ed, the president unwilling to negotiate in public, as he put it, with reporters asking him about the price tag. But he was also asked about folks who had followed Senator Sinema into the ladies' room, protesting, people who had appeared, I guess, in and around Joe Manchin's houseboat. He actually did take some questions, answer some questions. President called it inappropriate, but he also said this is sort of what happens if you are a politician, if you're a legislator, and people have access to you unless you have the Secret Service. It's not really easy to get away from folks who want something to say.
Right, and we've seen Democrats and Republicans in recent years face angry constituents in all sorts of ways, whether it's at a town hall meeting, whether it's Mitt Romney at the Salt Lake City airport coming back to Washington to approve the Electoral College results, whether it's Kyrsten Sinema over the weekend confronted by immigration activists. They were primarily concerned about the fact that she doesn't support doing immigration reform legislation or policy changes inside this massive bill, and the fact that, as the president pointed out, there's just two senators holding up this debate, her and Joe Manchin. Both of them have been confronted in creative ways by activists in recent days. We highlighted it in our reporting. We should point out that Kyrsten Sinema pointed out in a statement just a little while ago, they disrupted a class she was teaching at Arizona State University, where she's been teaching for several years. She said, in part, yesterday's behavior was not legitimate protest. It is unacceptable for activist organizations to instruct their members to jeopardize themselves by engaging in unlawful activities such as gaining entry to closed university buildings, disrupting learning environments, and filming students in a restroom. They did follow her in, and then they followed her out. She went back to the classroom. These activists say she or her office hasn't been taking meetings with them. It is a kind of sort of liberal backlash she's going to face. Heading towards her 2024 re-election cycle, which is a while away, so she's got time. But it's an example of the pent-up frustration she's facing, that Manchin's facing, and that other lawmakers face for all sorts of reasons. Of course, in this day and age, when there are a record number of threats against policymakers, we don't necessarily want to see or amplify that, because you never know what could happen. And to the president's point, someone like him who has Secret Service protections held at a farther remove from people like that. But I think what he was also saying is, look, this is the anger that people in our party feel, and it's time for you guys to cut a deal with us and get this done.
All right, Ed O'Keefe, thanks so much.
Take care.